Episode 2.
Welcome to Ctrl+C, the podcast where friends get together to discuss, enjoy, and tear movies apart. On this episode, we'll be discussing Reefer Madness from director Andy Fickman, released in 2005. On today's panel, we have Teresa.
Hello.
Kristen. Hello. And Chris.
I'm not harmonizing anymore. Screw you guys.
I'm Lindsay, and I'll be today's host. So, guys,
I loved it.
I'm so glad. This is one of my favorite movies.
I was at first, I'm like, what? And then I was like, I'm getting into it. I'm like, and we're going again. And we're going again.
All right, no, this is what I'm going to say. What the fuck did you make me watch?
Yes.
Like, I understand you wanted to have this whole, like, vengeance of
Oh, no,
what
this was
movies.
not my...
This was not the
This was not the Vengeance movie, Chris. This is a legitimate... I love this
Like,
movie.
it was all right. Like, we'll get into it further. But the whole time I was like, what the fuck is this?
It was like the best parts of Grease 2. You know, the whole reproduction, and sorry, and Rocky Horror, like all mixed together in one fabulous ball of musicality.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
I'm so glad.
There was a few parts I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. That, and I had the munchies, so I had to go grab some. I had to go get some.
That is one thing. It made me feel like I should probably be stoned
Yeah.
to enjoy it further and eat something.
You know-
Did give me munchies.
And I've never actually seen it stoned. I've only ever seen it completely sober. And I absolutely just love it.
It did make me want a brownie.
There's so...
We have brownie Brittle if you want some.
I was like, I really feel like I should be eating one of those brownies when I watch this.
And I think part of why I love it so much is because it's so over the top ridiculous. The songs are just catchy.
Yes.
And it offends everybody.
Oh, God, yes.
Like, they don't even bother to try not to offend everybody. They offend Jewish people, they offend Asians, Latinos, African
Yeah, they
Americans,
covered the wide spectrum.
Christians.
Everybody.
Everybody is on the table for some sort of insult somewhere in this whole thing.
One of my favorite lines, which is very inappropriate, but when he referred to that guy's ginger colored.
Yeah.
No, my favorite inappropriate line was I actually jotted it down.
Good.
I was on more laps than a napkin.
Yes.
That
I
was-
love
That was
one.
my favorite inappropriate line in this freaking
Yes.
movie. And then in terms of inappropriate scene, we're skipping toward the end
Sure.
a little bit, but the black family that runs away when the mob is coming
whole
with the
mob with the
I'm just
torches
like-
and everything.
I'm like, these people really did that? Like, what the fuck?
I saw that and I was like, whoa, I can't believe they put that in there.
Oh, yes. Nothing was sacred.
Nothing.
Yeah, especially when
mean,
you
there
got
was-
Jesus waxing
Listen.
musical about pot.
That Jesus musical was the best.
It actually kind of was.
It's the one out of all the songs that gets stuck in my head the most, just randomly throughout the day. And it's... I like to think that that's what heaven would be. Is just some sort of...
Just Jesus in a parlor just singing.
Not necessarily him, but just some sort of like... Some jazz lounge. Like, everybody's just having a good time, and we're all just in heaven. We're all sparkly and dressed in white, and we're just enjoying ourselves. And if Jesus happens to sing, then great.
Speaking of jazz makes white women do
Yes.
incredible acts. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
She rips off her shirt.
So, get ready, baby. I'm playing jazz tonight. I'm just gonna... That's not even jazz, but fuck it.
Yeah, that
Sounds
was
like
ridiculous.
Rufus and Shaka.
But yeah. The way that they kept referring to marijuana as an assassin,
Yes.
I love that.
That was
'Cause
hilarious.
I actually made a note, and I was like, marijuana, the chill assassin. And it just... It makes me feel of like, because I play a lot of Assassin's Creed.
Right.
It makes me feel like this dude who's like, I'm gonna climb that tower. Fuck it, I want a hamburger. Just doesn't give a shit. Just doesn't care.
So what's really fun about the show is that it may have been made in 2005, but it's got a history all the way back to the 1930s. Mm-hmm. So first there was some church group that made a like propaganda film called Tell Your Children, and it was spread about the United States trying to teach people the evils of marijuana. Then a movie studio picked it up and kind of expanded it and changed the name to Reefer Madness. Now, from there, the director and the writer and the partners that made the film, Kevin Murphy and Andy Fickman, they were driving home one night listening to Frank Zappa and thought, holy shit, you know what would be a great musical? Reefer Madness.
Oh my god!
And by the time they reached home, they had written the first song.
Were they stoned at the moment? Or
Well,
were they
now
into
it doesn't really
madness?
say that, but I would imagine probably
That'd
so.
be awesome.
But
That
yeah,
would make me happy.
Because what the first song was Romeo and Juliet, wasn't it?
no, the first song was the one with the zombies, where he's singing about turning all your children into hooligans and whores.
Yes,
Yes.
I know. I was like, why is marijuana turning them into zombies anyways? I'm like, this just doesn't...
I mean, it kind of does
I
turn
know.
people into zombies.
Marijuana.
A little bit. Now you have the emphasis on the
Marijuana.
marijuana. It makes me feel dirty just saying it.
So they made it into a stage play first, out in LA in like 1998, and a lot of the cast that's in the movie also did the original production on stage, and they actually tried to take it from LA to New York, but they opened 4 days after September 11th, so it kind of closed super fast. But also interestingly, even though some of the cast parts have changed from the beginning, Christian Campbell, who plays Jimmy, was in every single production from stage to film up until the film was made.
Oh,
He
wow.
played Jimmy from beginning to that point, and he probably played it a little bit after that.
Damn, that's pretty good.
That is, I liked him as Jimmy. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He was really good. I did like his part very much. Kristen Bell's part was very interesting too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just leave that at that. I don't know how else to put it, but I did
loved
like her part.
Yes,
I
thought
did.
that
It was very. I mean, the whole
hilarious.
Susie Q type deal that was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
But when she went complete dominatrix on that guy, in
That
her
was the
post-plot
best.
scene, that was one of the best scenes of the whole movie.
Yes.
Chris walks in and goes, wait, what? Huh? Yeah. He goes, what did I miss?
It went that way.
Yes, it did.
I mean, the movie's just hippie as hell. It
Yeah.
was super
was.
hippie. It was super trippy. It was super everywhere. It really just was all over the place. Every now and then I'd be like, what the fuck just happened? What?
I had to rewind a couple times. I'm like, what? I don't know that I just saw what I think I saw. Okay, let me go back.
Yeah,
My
I just
biggest part was the baby on the stove. About that was like,
the hell
do we
happened
need
to
to
that
rewind
baby?
that? Like, what the?
What do you mean? What happened to the baby? She sold it to the
sold it.
Asian, and the Asian was going to eat him.
I missed that part.
So he was turned to food?
Well, that's what they implied.
Motherfucker.
Because that's what she said when she sold him. You guys don't really eat babies, do you? And then he like leaned in with his chopsticks
Yeah.
and was laughing, and she just kind of shrugged and
It's like,
walked
aren't
off
you
camera.
sure you want to stay for dinner?
I remember seeing the Asian family.
Okay, that's
but
a little
that
more
part
creepy than I
completely-
thought.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, no.
I thought
they
it was like a gag, but not really.
no,
but
they completely implied that
that
Asians
there
eat
was
babies.
kind
and
of
she
well,
That's hence the reason why the Asian and the audience started like going
sliding down in
disappearing.
her seat.
yeah. I mean, I got that. That's why she did that, but I didn't realize that. Yes, that they were legitimately gonna eat this baby.
Well, yeah, they
This is
implied
a
it.
lot darker than I thought originally.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of murder in this movie.
I mean, hell, one of the songs
Is
were
there?
"Murder Me."
I mean, but is there a lot of murder? Really, how many people
And
died?
then at the end you have Sally holding her head on while she's singing. Well, Sally died and
Ralph,
died.
Kristen Bell's character, Mary Sunshine,
Mary Lane.
Yeah, Mary.
Mary Lane.
Who else died?
That's what I'm saying. Not many people died.
Well, I think they also implied that, a lot of other kids died before they got to him. But in that last little bit, and no, Stephen Weber died.
Yeah.
His character.
That's it.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
also
he did.
died.
There was a lot of blood.
Yes, there was.
That was awesome. The
That was
the
pretty
bloody
cool.
woman running down the street.
Trying to catch
Mr.
the president.
President.
Anna Gasteyer.
She was fantastic.
She was.
But why does she reach down and grab the heart? That was
Because it was a Mortal Kombat move. I actually made a note about that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but is this Mortal Kombat?
No idea.
Finish him.
And they reach in and grab the heart.
It looked like a fatality.
Interesting.
It was her finishing move.
It was.
I-
There's.
I don't play
almost
games.
every Mortal Kombat has this whole like reach into your chest, rip out your heart, and hold it out So that's why I was like, that's the first thing that came to me. I was like, okay, it's Mortal Kombat. All right. Up, down, left, right, A, B, A, B. Got it. Somebody's going to yell at me for that code because that code does nothing.
Probably.
I guarantee it.
And Mortal Kombat for me was just like, I'm going to just see what all these buttons do, and then maybe I'll actually do something.
That's about my experience with any sort of game.
Same
Just
here.
see where it goes.
And then I figure out why. I was like, oh my god, I finally got one. What the hell buttons did I hit?
And then when you remember, you use it over and over and over again, and the person
Yeah.
you're playing with gets mad. Yeah.
I do that with AJ. It's fun that way. But I had Shakespeare during the wedding scene was like, no,
like,
no,
no,
wait,
that's not how that
I was like, oh lord, that's hilarious.
It was great. I did like that part. I pointed it out to her. I was like, did you see him? He's like,
It's like, no, that's not how it works.
It's like the whole time they mentioned Romeo and Juliet, somebody around us and was like, what? No, that's not, no.
And then at the end, Shakespeare was just resigned and like, yeah, well,
whatever.
okay, I'm going to let you
Whatever.
believe what you want to believe.
He's just like, yeah, go on.
I mean, in all fairness, they got what they wanted. They wanted their Romeo
true.
and Juliet. Well, not really, because he
That's 'cause
survived.
Jimmy lives.
Jimmy survived.
Yes,
Yeah.
he does.
That's sad.
But if he
the last
dies of
minute.
cancer or gets hit by a truck,
He'll wait for him.
I was like, why say that?
Well, because he didn't die the first time the way he should have, so he's got to die somehow.
That's true.
Yeah,
So I think I loved just all like the little things about the movie. So Anna Gasteyer's first song, where
The
she's
stuff.
hollering, the stuff, and she hollers out onto the street about how he rapes her, and like, for me, it wasn't her singing that was so hilarious. It was the milkman dropping the milk in the street
And
below.
everybody
Yes.
looking.
And everybody looking up at her. It was stuff like that that just cracked me up. Or,
So I'll be realistic, I totally missed that part.
oh, did you?
There was a point where I got up and I went to make some breakfast because we actually
yeah.
have to watch that this morning. And apparently that's what I missed.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So Anna Gasteyer is singing essentially an ode to marijuana and talking about how she used to be a good girl like Mary Lane was. She doesn't call her by name, but she implies that that's how she was, right? And she was good until the stuff. And it's this really big, like, deep-voiced, not a ballad? I don't know how to describe it. But it's pretty fantastic. And she's, like, crawling up the stairs and singing to a joint, like, is in her hand, and she's waving it around and looking at it lovingly.
And
Yeah. But then she's talking about how, Jack didn't used to be so bad. He used to be really nice. Except for those times that he rapes me. And she screams rapes me in this beautiful sing-songy voice out the main window to the street below. And, like, all of the people stop, turn, and, like, the milkman drops all the glass bottles of milk and they just fall to the ground. And they're all, like, stopped in their tracks and looking at her weird, and she gets this look on her face like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And she closes the window and she goes back
Slinks
inside.
and goes back to singing her song.
That's one thing. The treatment of women in this movie was actually kind of like shocking.
Yeah.
I did not think, I honestly did not picture that there would be so much like, shut up and do what you're told
Yeah.
type of attitude.
And I think that was part of the point. In fact, the only one who doesn't get treated that way is Neve Campbell. And she has a very tiny little part.
But doesn't she? Because during the dance scene where they're somehow, and I actually made a note of this, how the hell did it turn to salsa? But
why not?
during that dance scene, she was kind of made to seem like, the bimbo waitress that was being kind of sexually,
he was like being manhandled,
yeah.
tossed
See,
around.
I
like a
didn't
rag
see
doll.
it
At least
that way.
that's the way that I took that.
No, the way I took that one was, when she's dancing, she was the one who's kind of in charge of that little dance. He just kind of, and even Steven Weber said that he was playing that as, listen, she's the dancer, I'm just here. Like, she was in charge of what's
I got
going
the
on.
impression that the five and dime
Yeah,
is her territory.
yeah.
And she dictates what goes on in the five and dime.
Now, you guys know that the guy who's playing Jimmy is her brother, right?
No.
Like in real life?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I had
I
no
did
idea.
not know that.
Yes.
I had to look him up because at one point in the beginning,
Yeah.
I was like, "Is that Ryan Reynolds?" Because he had there were these certain faces he would make, and he looked like Ryan Reynolds, and I'm like, "That's Ryan Reynolds isn't is this?" So I grabbed my phone, and I'm like, "No, that's not him." But wow, it was just kind of weird.
Well, for me, for some reason, I kept thinking that Alan Cumming was Pee Wee Herman.
Okay, Alan
So for like a
Cumming.
good 15 minutes, I was like, "Why is Pee Wee in this movie?" And then I looked him up, and I remembered Lindsay telling me that Alan Cumming was in it, but it didn't click until I saw his name. I was like, "Oh no, it's not him. Never mind."
Alan Cumming was the whole highlight, best part of this movie for me.
There
He
was
was
part.
the movie.
When
Oh, yeah, he was.
When he was the devil, that was so damn
Oh, in the orgy scene.
campy and
Yeah.
sexy, and it made me think of the
Because
clip
wasn't
I
he the
shared
goat
with you
man
guys.
too?
That's what she's talking about.
Yeah. But it made me think of that clip I shared with you guys of him as the MC from Cabaret.
When he was the goat man?
Yes. Because he was sexy and...
Dude,
Oh
every
yeah, it was
so
totally
listen.
such a turn on for me. It was wonderful.
Listen, I think Alan Cumming is incredibly sexy.
I mean, he's a good-looking dude, but I don't see the sex appeal.
I don't either. But
Call it because say it because I'm a guy and I just don't understand it, but I just don't see it.
So
I'm
I've
sorry.
seen this movie. You guys are like numbers like 7, 8, 9 people I've subjected to this thing because I love it so much.
Should we send them care packages to deal
No,
with it?
because they all liked it. Thank you very much.
I enjoyed it, so.
Good. I completely lost my train of thought. Oh, when he's the goat guy, and he's in the orgy, and he's twirling around his giant dildo thing, no matter how many times I see this movie, I still have that split-second thought of, oh my god, don't shove it up his ass.
Yes, I had the same thought because I was like, where is he go? Okay, he didn't do that.
Yeah, no, I've seen this movie at least 9 times in my life, and every single time I have the thought, I'm like, no. Obviously, it's not going to change.
Clearly, Jimmy had the
How
same
awesome
thought
would it be
because the
if it
look
did
on his
change, though?
I
face.
know.
How awesome would it be somewhere out there? There's a version.
There's a version, yeah.
That would be awesome, actually.
That would be.
I still love the Jesus song.
Yeah.
Well, okay, Jesus song. Can
Yes.
somebody tell me why the hell Joan of Arc was there?
Why not?
Why Joan of Arc?
No idea.
Because she was a martyr.
She was a martyr. She's in heaven.
Yeah, but there's
They-
been other martyrs.
Yeah, they
Why
just-
specific to her? Was she
that
a
I don't
stoner? That's what I'm trying to wonder. Like, it's just a random.
She was-
It's
I
kind of
don't
a
know.
weird pull for me.
I mean, because I think Joan of Arc has a more universal appeal than somebody like, I don't know, St. Peter. More people are going to, like, identify with who Joan of Arc is before anybody else that might have been a martyr.
Yeah, because I can't think of any other women that have that kind of
Considered
mythos
martyrs.
around them.
Fair enough, I guess.
I don't know.
And she was
Never really thought
pretty
about
bad in her little suit of armor.
Yeah,
she was
I mean,
adorable.
she was badass. I liked her.
She was
Don't
really
get me wrong.
adorable.
It was just very weird for me for it to be Joan of
Joan of
Arc.
Arc, yeah.
That's what caught me kind of off guard. Because yeah, like she was a martyr and everything, but I've never seen her regarded as like a high figure to consider when you're going to heaven. You know what I mean? Like it's never
Me
like,
neither.
oh, welcome to heaven. She'll greet you at the gate. I mean, is she one of the 72 virgins that people
Maybe.
can about? I don't
Never
know.
know.
Possibly. I mean, with marijuana, anything's possible.
Is it really
I think
though?
that was the moral of
That
this
was the
story.
moral of the story. Yeah.
There you go,
Yeah.
kids. Marijuana makes it possible. And we lost young audiences everywhere. or gained them.
We're gonna get
Not
a
sure. Kevin
parental
Smith as
warning
well.
sticker.
We're going to get away.
We're gonna get a parental warning sticker.
Probably.
No, we're probably going to have to check off the explicit.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of cursing in this. So,
yeah.
Yeah, we're going to. Apparently, I curse a lot, and apparently I make you guys curse. I'm sorry.
I'm working
it
on it.
happens. So, one of the fun things is about some of these group scenes that they had to do. So, like the lounge singer Jesus group scene. At least 2 of those dancers are reported to have been like legitimate showgirls from Vegas.
Nice.
And during the orgy scene, there's like 2 dancers. One of them is, I think I read that one of them was Christian Campbell's girlfriend, and the other one was married to somebody like a producer or something. But all the rest of the dancers were Canadian strippers,
Were they really?
That makes it wonderful.
doesn't it?
It
And
all of the holy girls and all of the angels
Or all
are
strippers.
showgirls or strippers.
yes, yes,
That makes it funny.
Well, I mean, the whole thing. They're also sitting there shaking their boobies. They're like, I mean,
Do that one more time.
no.
I'm just gonna
Later,
film it
baby.
real. I'm just gonna film it real quick. Put it out there. I'm sure somebody will like it. They'll enjoy it on the website. It's okay.
But I mean, the whole scenes with the angels, anyways. I mean, they're all very sexy. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
they're wearing less than a bathing suit.
Yep.
I mean, so it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I really liked Sally.
Sally always cracks me up.
I was
babe, running into doors
damn
she was
doors.
Why
hilarious.
does she always run into doors?
Damn baby.
just because she's a klutz.
I thought it was because she's so high all the
Well,
time.
that too, but
Eh.
it's kind of just part of the character that they built.
Just her running
she's,
gag.
She's a klutz, and that's her running gag, and you know.
I was pleasantly surprised at how strong and clean her singing voice was.
Yeah.
I really liked her voice. Now she was the Statue of Liberty at the end
Yeah,
as well,
she
right?
was. Yes.
Okay.
And that's where she really got to showcase what she could do. I
Yeah.
thought.
And then that's actually another question I had. Are all the voices for the actors, is it actually their singing voice?
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
You know, sometimes they'll do the acting, but somebody else comes in and does the singing.
Yeah, no, almost everybody. I mean, Steven Weber was in the producers for years. Kristen Bell, we all know she can sing.
So everybody came from Broadway in one shape or
Yes.
one.
So I'm a little
much.
hesitant to say this because I'm within striking distance of Lindsay.
Uh-oh.
But as I was watching this, I had to wonder if the producers of Frozen
Saw Kristen Bell in this role because she reminded me so much of Anna.
I can see
Like
that.
the upbeat and even
the kinds of
What,
songs
for
that
like a
she
live
sang.
action type of
well,
Frozen deal?
it just seemed like Anna was so similar to her character in this
Yeah.
pre-pot. You know, the upbeat and the peppy and the kind of
Almost the naive a little bit.
you know, and
Yeah. No, I never really thought about it that way.
but as I was watching this, I have like Love is an Open Door running through my head, and for the first time in forever, and when she was singing with Jimmy,
Yeah.
all I could think about was Love is an Open Door.
Really?
Yes. And I would be very interested to know when they cast her in that role, had they seen her in this?
Well, they
Wait,
must.
she
I mean,
is the. I've seen Frozen
Kristen
once.
Bell is the voice of Anna, the
Oh.
redhead princess.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know
oh,
either.
yeah. That's why I said we all know she can sing. Just assuming that you knew that she was.
No,
in
I've
Frozen.
seen her in other stuff that I knew she could sing. Can't remember off the top of my head right now where from, but I've seen her before.
Okay.
So I knew she was capable of singing. I just didn't realize that she was in Frozen.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Frozen once before. You know, we have kids, but not
It just
for any
seemed like
enjoyable reason.
they took
We turned it off halfway through.
that they took Mary and just dropped her right into Frozen.
No, I didn't even think about that.
I could see it now. Definitely can see
The
it.
songs had the same tone, the same
Yeah.
kind of. And she was, the sweet little, naive and.
Yeah. God, her role cracks me up every time. As soon as she smokes the pot, and then she just goes bananas and becomes Mary Sunshine.
I love how she takes a hit and then puffs and hit again and then leaves it and just whatever. She's like a chimney. at that point.
And I loved it when she goes, I think you tricked me.
No. For me, the best part is they do the whole number, and she hops on top of him, and he tries to get up, and she goes, "Shut up, bitch!" and elbows him in the head.
I
part was
laughed
great.
out
That cracked us up
so
pretty
hard on that one. I was like, oh my god, that is awesome.
But then, like, my question is, why was she writing him? Was she simulating having sex with him, or grinding on him, or what the heck was happening?
I assumed they were having sex.
I figured that's what
But
they were trying
they
to
didn't
imply.
want to go like.
I feel like because she was essentially originally so naive, they couldn't. And, well, I mean, it's a PG-13 movie. It's not like they went
Yeah,
all the
and
way
all
with
the
any of
people
the
at
anything.
the beginning when Jimmy first came over,
Yeah,
they were simulating the act, but they were fully clothed in
Yeah.
whatever state
Dry
they were
humping.
in. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all dry humping. But I kind of took it to be, well, they're doing it.
yeah.
And that's kind of what I was asking. Was it supposed to be dry humping? Because, I mean, within the era that the movie takes place, which I'm assuming is supposed to be 1930,
Yeah.
late 1930s, early 40s.
That was a big deal.
It grinding alone,
Yeah.
fully clothed was a big deal anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why I was trying to, what was she doing?
Yeah.
My mind just went to the dirtiest place possible.
Doesn't
Per
it
usual.
always though?
Yes.
That's what that got it. There's a scene that I'm curious about. because I think I might have missed who the hell this person was.
Okay.
When Jimmy first starts smoking, and he goes on his... I love how people become absolutely, completely crazy the minute they take a puff.
start
It's like,
twitching and-
start twitching and all that. Yeah, it's like they're smoking heroin. He ends up in a shower with someone.
That was his mother.
That's his mom.
Yep.
And then he looks
'Cause I
down
actually wrote
with the
down and I
soap
was
and was
like-
like, yeah. It's like, oh my God. Please
Yeah,
no.
my note was, what's with the creepy shower scene?
Yeah, that was
Mommy.
the concept, and part of the whole point of the movie is to show how ridiculous some of these propaganda films were back in the day. One puff and you're hooked. One puff and you're going to be murdering people. One puff and you're hopping into the shower with your mother, thinking it's a great idea. That's the whole point of making it so over the top and ridiculous.
It went to the worst impossible
Possible
place.
place that it could possibly go.
See, now I actually want to watch the original film, like the
Yeah.
actual propaganda film. I think that'd be hilarious to watch.
It's on the DVD that I loaned to you.
Oh, yeah?
Which I forgot to bring back, so I'll have to drop it off at your house.
But yeah, that's the whole point, is
Just
Just
to
the
make it absurd and
ridiculousness.
completely...
And if you differ,
It
you're
was.
automatically a communist.
obviously
When he started in on him, I
a
was
room full of
like,
communists over here.
what?
But yeah, so and they allude to that, the original movie and the whole war on drugs that started back then throughout the movie. So even just like little things where the high school that they all attended was Harry J. Anslinger High School. And he was the first commissioner of the Narcotics Bureau for the United States in like the 1930s. And
Like
he-
in real life or in the
in
movie?
real life.
Oh, okay.
So he's actually known as like the father of the war against drugs. And so they named the high school after him in this movie.
So was that Rydell High?
I don't think so.
Because when they pulled out, I was like, that looks like Rydell High.
It could be. I haven't paid that much attention. I mean, I paid a lot of attention, but I missed that.
And rewatch it again.
And it might just be because of that whole Rocky Horror meets
Yeah.
Grease thing that
Yeah.
the movie put me in mind of. And then you throw in Frozen, so.
Right. So, Frozen.
Do you want to go smoke a joint?
Do you want to go get high? I don't know enough of the song to mimic the rest. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
You did pretty
It's
good.
okay.
Yay.
Do you want to roll a joint, man? Or rather smoke it from a bomb?
We're going to get sued by Disney.
Oh, good God.
Probably.
All right, we'll stop that then.
Yeah.
Disney, please don't sue us.
Yes,
Beg you.
please don't.
We're sorry.
No, we're not.
Maybe a little bit.
So, did y'all catch? So they sang a lot about William Randolph Hearst. Do y'all know anything about him?
I have no clue.
Paper guy.
I'm
Shocker!
going to say that very proudly. I probably shouldn't, though.
And wasn't Patty his daughter or his granddaughter?
One of them, yeah. So he was like this. Did you ever see Newsies?
Parts of it.
Okay. So Hearst was one of the major newspaper guys back in the 30s, and he basically controlled all the newspaper publications and what people were essentially allowed to find out about news and stuff. The whole freedom of the press thing got a little wonky at sometimes. And okay, so my facts might not be exactly accurate, but I do know that he did have a lot to do with the war on drugs, and they did do a lot of propaganda articles about how marijuana is essentially worse than heroin. So some of the headlines and some of the lyrics that they were singing actually were pulled from some of his old newspaper publications about the evils of marijuana.
And he's the first one who started talking about how terrible marijuana is.
One of them, yeah. He was one of the first. Him
I'm
and
not very well
Anslinger.
versed in this whole marijuana business.
Only reason I am is because I looked it up.
Sadly. Well, with me being part Colombian, it was like the joke of it throughout my entire life, so I really just didn't care
Sure.
enough to learn. are just like, screw this. I don't.
See, I would make jokes about Coke to a Colombian rather than
Oh
pot.
no, they made those jokes too.
I didn't want to be the one to say it, T.
It was all those jokes were included. In fact,
You and your little friend.
me and my little friend.
So I loved the part when Alan Cumming was President Roosevelt,
Yes.
and he
Yes.
threw in the line about Annie. And basically, she taught him that everything is going to be okay tomorrow, which is easy for her to say because her father is a billionaire and money just makes everything better.
So, in that whole last scene where he's playing President Roosevelt, and then in literally the very, very last bit where he's driving off and he's taking off his disguise, and he says the line, when danger's near, exploit their fear.
Yeah.
To me, that makes the whole movie, and it makes everything seem so timeless. Because, yeah, think about what we're dealing with propaganda now and mass media and the fear that's been being put out into the world through the internet, through Fox News, through CNN, whatever your news station is. It's a lot of fear-based bullshit. And this movie was made 10 years ago.
No, I mean it's the
15
easiest way
years
to
ago.
control someone.
Yes,
You want to
the fear
control
is-
somebody, get to them through fear.
It's the fear-based bullshit that's covering up the stuff we should really be afraid of.
Exactly.
Just get everybody riled up about a bunch of fluffy crap that's not going to matter in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And we'll just keep doing our real dirty work that should really scare the crap out of you behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Without discussing what my views are on the whole transvestite bathroom situation, I feel that that's one of those cases. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things that
Right.
because there's a lot of it that really like it's not really policeable. That how are you really gonna check other than going into someone's pants, which will never be legalized. But
Right.
regardless of all that, I feel that that's being brought up to the extent that it's being brought up now because something else is in the background that we should probably be paying closer attention to.
Ebola, it just kind of disappeared. The Zika virus thing, which affects a small number of pregnant women in certain areas. What's really going
Who
on?
travel to a certain spot
Right.
within a certain time, and the sun has to be at a certain angle.
And the Starbucks
temperature.
Christmas cup. So anytime there's a news story that's like all over the place, I'm like, okay, what are y'all covering up? And now my dad, it was so funny because my parents were up this weekend and my dad was watching the news last night. And he's like, Prince is all over the place. What is the government doing to take advantage of all the media cover that his death is getting?
Welcome to Ctrl+C, the controversy podcast.
Everybody get your tinfoil hats. We're going to talk about chemtrails in just a second.
No, we need to
No,
magnets
no.
because if you don't have the magnets, it doesn't work right.
I don't even know where to go from that.
I don't either. So the musical. Oh, well, I do want to say the 420 in the church.
Yes.
I was like, oh my god, did you see that? Chris is like, yeah. I'm like,
Well,
you
here's
give
why.
me more excitement about that? Come on.
I've never understood why 420 means marijuana.
Yeah, I haven't either.
To Google.
To Google. So my friend Alice, she moved to Colorado a few years ago. And Alice has always been a pothead. But when she moved to Colorado, she, of course, within the first 2 weeks of getting there, gets her medical card for whatever reason she got it
Why
for.
would you not? Alice sounds smart.
Right? But she became a huge activist in the legalization community. And she told me at one point where it came from, but I don't remember. It's something about International Pot Smoking Time.
that was
but,
like the
but all
best
of that
time
has to have an origin, though.
Yeah.
Statue of Louis Pasteur at San Rafael High School is said to be the site of the original 420 gatherings. Is a code term that refers to the annual consumption of cannabis and by extension is a way to identify oneself with cannabis culture, which doesn't really... And basically, this article from Huffington Post, they go to Warren Haynes, the Allman Band Brothers guitarist, who toured with the Dead and plays with the Dead. You know, you think that he would know. He doesn't know. Depending on who you ask or their state of inebriation, there are as many varieties of answers as strains of medical bud in California. It's the number of active chemicals in marijuana. It's tea time in Holland. It has something to do with Hitler's birthday. It's those numbers in that Bob Dylan song multiplied.
The Bob Dylan thing sounds very complicated. Like, who would sit there?
Right.
If you're a stoner, you're not going to take the time there to do math.
Just as interesting as its
I mean,
origin
I love
is
you
turned
stoners, I'm
out,
sorry, but
is how it spread.
it's better
It was
to do the
Christmas
math.
week in Oakland, 1990. Stephen Bloom was wandering through the lot, that timeless gathering of hippies that springs up in the parking lot before every Grateful Dead concert, when a deadhead handed him a yellow flyer. We're going to meet at 420 on 420 for 420ing in Marin County. The flyer came complete with a 420 backstory. 420 started somewhere in San Rafael, California in the late 70s. It started as the police code for marijuana smoking in progress. After local heads heard of the police call, they started using the expression 420 when referring to herb. Let's go 420, dude. But even that's only partially right.
Yeah, the thing that I'm reading on mine, basically, it's just a mythos at this point. Nobody really knows.
It just kind of happened. They're like, oh, cool, I like
Yeah,
that.
because the 420 thing for the police code, not a thing.
Yeah.
Like, no one thing that anybody has ever researched has actually seems to have gotten...
So there's no real origin that's been established.
Yeah, this goes on to say it had nothing to do with the police code. 5 San Rafael high school friends known as the Waldos, by virtue of their chosen hangout spot, a wall outside the school, coined it in 1971. They have all asked to keep their real names secret for professional reason. It was just something they came up with, and they never envisioned that pot smokers the world over would celebrate each April 20th as a result of their foray into the Point Reyes forest.
Yeah, but did they really, though? I mean,
I don't
if
know.
you were approached, and wouldn't you take credit for something like that?
If
you were
nobody,
that guy?
if nobody else was going to,
But here's
yes.
the thing. They're remaining anonymous, so they're not really taking credit for it.
But wouldn't you want to? Something this big of a deal?
But that's why I'm saying that there's some legitimacy to it, because sure, they're taking credit, but we don't know who they are. They're just certain people within that county or whatever. You know what I mean? They're not saying, my name is John Smith. I lived here. We made it up here. You know what I mean? So if you're looking for the accolades, you would give all your
Yeah.
details so people know you. But I don't know. That's why for 20, like, I've never understood it. But yes, I did notice it in the church.
But to bring it back to the
To
movie,
bring it back to the movie that we're reviewing.
Well, so I
See,
actually
it's a conversational podcast. We talk about things and tangents that come from the movie.
I actually want to kind of go back and watch it again, and just to see how many 420 things were in the background.
Yeah.
Because I noticed it. I made like 3 notes of where they
Yeah.
were. But
Yeah, there's like some of the house numbers and stuff.
And what
like
should
that.
be 420 times? Now that would be awesome.
that would be pretty cool, actually. But I was like, ooh, I wonder. Oh, the last part of the when they're free and they're leaving the jail and they go to the crop.
Yes.
And they're cutting it down
Yes.
and pouring gasoline on it. Why would you set fire to weed?
when I was watching that, I thought, okay, Jimmy has completely renounced pot, and
Yeah.
he's clean, and now they're going to burn this, and he's going to get stoned all over again.
I was actually hoping he would.
Because I was envisioning he was going to get stoned and start twitching, and then start
Yeah.
killing everybody there.
That's kind of where I went with it too.
You're like,
Interesting.
And you hope
fingers
it
crossed,
happens.
fingers
I
crossed.
really did.
Yeah.
I mean, not that the movie wasn't interesting, I liked it.
Yeah.
But those were my thoughts exactly. He was just almost pinned for murder.
Right.
He got away with it. All these people are dead. The love of his life is dead. Now he's stoned again. Kill everything.
I think in a Reefer Madness, Where Are They Now episode, he would have shacked up with Anna Gasteyer's character.
Probably.
I was hoping for it.
Because now that he's showered with his mother, he has an Oedipus complex.
Oh God.
Good lord.
I will say, one of my favorite lines was when they're like, "Do you have any last words?" He goes, well put." Really?
Yeah, you laughed about that for a little time.
Because it was awesome. Okay, thanks. Thanks for playing. Good job. Kill him now. Switch it on. It was, I don't know. It was good.
And we kept waiting for that last scene for him to be electrocuted still.
Oh yeah.
We're like, it can happen now. Okay, so they undid his arms. Well, it's still gonna happen. He's sitting there.
They were singing while he was still in the chair.
And they kept swinging their arms up
I thought somebody was going to accidentally hit the switch.
in positions. Yeah. And that's what we kept thinking. We're like, okay, the numbers that they're doing, their hands are going crazy. We're like, it's still a possibility. He might still die.
I'm like, he's been pardoned. Get him out of the chair. What a horrible way to leave him just sitting there with this big thing on his head.
I'm still wondering how they got the pardon. Because, I mean,
She threw herself
She
in front
pled
of the
her
president.
case
I
to
get
the
it. She
president.
pled her case.
The president can do whatever the hell he wants.
And told
Yeah,
the
that's
president.
wonderful. He can do whatever he wants. But here's my thing. Why would the president believe a woman covered in blood?
Because
Okay, so you're being way too literal at the end of a crazy ass movie that was fantastical and over the top and
I guess you got a point, and I'll take your word for it.
because
But
it
I'm looking
fit
at it going, that
into
would
the
never
plot.
That makes more sense to me.
would you?
It
It
fit
fits
into the plot.
Because when you think about it, if it's a propaganda film,
Yeah.
then sure.
And it furthered
But
the
then
cause of the
why-
Alan Cumming character to, you know,
But then at the same time, if you're trying to prove how marijuana is this, ridiculous thing, why would you pardon the kid?
the only thing that could save him was
Is the
this
president-
chance encounter
Go
with the
America.
president. Yeah.
Go America!
And thank you for coming, Mr.
So
President.
if you're going to kill anybody, make sure it's when the president's going to be in your town,
Right.
so that way you can get a last minute pardon,
But only if a bloodied woman comes to his feet,
and only if you didn't have a trial.
and only if he didn't have a trial. That's
You
how
just
things
went
work.
straight to jail to be somebody's wife.
It's apparently a game of Monopoly.
I like
Straight to jail, did not collect 200.
I like the scene where they're all like surrounding him. He has the little squeegee, the back scratcher, and they're like, boop. He's like, vroom. I was like, yeah, it's hilarious. It's
Chrissy
the shower
Hall.
scene.
The shower? Oh yeah.
In the jail, when he walked in with the towel around his
Yeah, they
waist.
dropped the stuff. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. It took me a minute. I'm sorry. I tried to block that image out of my head.
So one of the overall most entertaining things to me is that this whole story, the way they've portrayed it, took place in a week.
Did it really?
It was a week's worth of time between the time that this kid got hooked on pot, became some crazed lunatic, to the time that he was in that chair, about to be electrocuted.
So all that took place in a week?
Yep, that's what they
Oh.
imply.
That is the quickest week ever.
What if you're that stoned? How would you get all that accomplished in a week?
It's a good.
That's why it's entertaining and over the top and ridiculous.
The magical powers of the devil weed.
They're trying
Oh, the
to
devil way.
show you how quickly things can
Okay.
It grows
evolve.
from the devil seed.
Yes.
All right. So we haven't approached this subject yet.
Okay.
Brownie weed.
My brownie is awesome.
Every time I eat a brownie now, that's going to be stuck in my head.
My favorite part was when he was having sex with the brownie.
Yeah.
That
That scene, honestly, out of all the people I've shown it to, that's always the one that trips everybody up. They're like,
Yeah.
what did you make me watch? It's like, it'll pass.
Oh no, we haven't even touched on that. So, my mom and my grandmother.
Oh,
were
that's
still
hilarious.
here.
That's
Oh,
right.
no.
And we started watching it because we were time restraints. So we're like, all right, we're gonna watch it. My mother
You
and my
had
grandmother
3 weeks.
sat there. Yeah, it's been a weird week. Anyway, my mother and my grandmother sat there, just staring, going, "What que es eso? Oh my God! Ay Dios mío, no. And I would just turn around and look at them and like, I don't know. And then my mom would be like, what is that? And I turn around and I was like, right? This movie's fucked up. What did Lindsay make us watch? But she was just like, her face. Like, I know this is a
can only
podcast.
imagine.
Podcasts are not very great for showing what faces
Sure.
look like.
No.
But if you could imagine.
I can imagine what my mother's face would look like if she
Yeah.
watched this movie. So I'll just imagine that and just pretend like it's yours, because I'm sure it would be the same
It would
reaction.
probably be the same.
It
Except my
was.
mom's short and Italian. So
Well, I'm just
just
grateful
imagine
she.
your mom's shorter.
Yeah,
if
I'm
that's
just
even
grateful she
possible.
wasn't here for the brownie scene because I think that would have just totally put her over
Yeah,
this scene.
no, this is not. This is not what I call a mom appropriate movie.
Yeah, no.
My mom and I go to a lot of movies when I'm home, and sometimes there are things that I want to see. And I'm like, nope, I'll just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait. What?
This is
What,
definitely one of those.
What random Tom Hanks movie is out this week? Let's go see that.
So you mean you're not going to show your mom the podcast for this movie to get her feedback on it?
Listen, if she wants to listen to the podcast, that's great. But
Hi,
I know that I
Sandy's
could.
Mom, how are
So
you?
I think
There is no way I could pay my mother to watch Reefer Madness.
I think at some point down the line with the podcast, we should have your mom on as a guest.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
That would be hilarious.
Can we have her on to record to like review like a really really fucked up movie?
no.
Come on.
Can we make your mom watch Tusk?
See, here's that'd be awesome. No, but realistically, we cannot have your mom come here and
my poor
rate and
stomach.
review. Oh god, we can't have her come and review like her favorite movie. You know, it
No,
won't be.
but-
She won't talk much. She'll be like, the movie was great. I liked it. It
Well,
was fun.
we still have Rocky Horror Show that we want to watch. So I
Rocky
mean,
Horror Picture Show.
yeah.
But that's not as bad. I think that if
She's
you're
actually
gonna look
seen
at
that one.
huh?
She's seen that one.
yeah, see, that's not. I mean,
Well, I've seen it too, but I'm still gonna watch it again.
if you compare apples to apples, Reefer Madness and
Oh
Rocky
God,
Horror,
yes.
Reefer Madness is a lot worse than Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
is funny because all the shows and all the things that people talk about. Like, no, this one is flat out worse.
Yeah, Reefer Madness was more blatant about the sexual stuff because Rocky Horror sex was more like behind the scenes, behind the
Yeah.
curtain. You know, we'll sing a couple songs about it, but it was pretty blatant, I think, in Reefer Madness.
Well, yeah. I mean,
The
they're all in-
brownies.
They're all in nude-colored bikinis.
Oh God, you know what would be fantastic? Tim Curry and Alan Cumming together in a
Some
musical.
sort of musical.
Yes,
Tim Curry's still alive, right?
he's
Yes.
in a wheelchair,
Thank
but
God.
he's still
Because
alive.
2016 so
like-
far has
I think
taken
he's 70.
everybody from me.
He's not doing well. I mean, he's in a wheelchair and pretty frail looking.
That sucks.
I think in the remake of Rocky Horror, he's going to be the professor.
There's a remake coming?
No, it's not necessarily. Well, it's not really a remake. It's a live.
Yeah.
One of those
Oh,
live
okay,
ones
got
that
And
NBC
Laverne
does.
Cox from Orange is the New Black is going to be Frankenfurter.
I believe so. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to be one of those. I think is it NBC that does those?
I think they're the
Well,
one
they
that
do
did
like
Grease.
a Night of the Opera type thing, or they do like whatever,
just did
something
Grease
live.
with-
Yeah,
Yeah.
The live telecast.
yeah. I think it's ABC.
I think it's
I'm not
NBC.
sure. I can't remember.
Either way, they're doing one for Rocky Horror.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've never been a fan.
No.
No, I can't. I'm not. That's one episode that I'm dreading. I'm telling you guys right now. But I'll do it because I'm gonna make you guys watch fucked up shit too.
Not all of my future picks are screwed up. I actually I was trying to find something else to watch yesterday, just to be random, and I started pulling stuff out. I'm like, oh nope, I can't watch that one because I want to make the team watch that one, and then pick up another one. I'm like, nope, I want to watch that one with everybody too.
I know there's a few ones I'm like, should I? Because there's a lot of the movies that I want to watch we haven't watched
Yeah.
yet. So I've seen the previews of it. I've read the comments on it and everything.
Yeah.
It looks really great, like the one I picked. And then you're just like, oh wow. But no, this one overall was interesting. I'm not much of. I mean, I'm one of the little goody goodies. I don't do drugs. I don't do any
Right.
things like that. So to watch this one was quite interesting because it was like, this is what I should be watching as, one of my people to deter me away from drugs and stuff like that. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. I'm like,
Yeah.
there is no way.
As a person who has done a lot of drugs, watching this, I was like, this never happened.
Well, I know there was a few points in there. I'm like,
Probably a
could
good thing.
that? I'm like, is that even possible?
I mean, if everybody broke out into song.
Well,
and
now, that
you
did happen.
Now, if
hallucinated
that
and
did
or-
happen, I might
You guys
think
have
about
never
it.
broken down into song. I do it all the time.
I do it
while stoned.
No, I've
I
never
do
done
it while
song.
sober.
Actually, no,
That's
that's a lot.
that's the point.
Now, granted,
I did punch
our
someone.
drug-induced random burst of songs was usually like Bohemian Rhapsody, all the vocals and instrumentals and all that.
But I mean, if you're gonna go out and sing, you might as well sing Bohemian Rhapsody.
Right?
True.
I mean, that is the one to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. But I mean, overall, I think it's a really good thing that sort of like hallucination doesn't happen with marijuana because everyone would probably be smoking.
And
Yeah,
if it
I
does
agree.
happen with marijuana, you know that you got something besides marijuana in
Yes.
your marijuana.
Exactly.
So this is something that I don't even know if I've admitted to my parents, but I don't know if my parents are going to be listening to this or not. But hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I've tried marijuana once. Worst experience of my life. Never did it again, and will never do it again. Basically, so you guys know those old school machines, like the movie machines, where it was just like pictures. You have to crank the wheel to be able to see them, and if you did it slow enough, you could see the pictures falling. And that's how my vision was the entire time. So,
I don't think you had
That
pure
wasn't
marijuana.
just marijuana.
that's what
sweetheart.
everybody tells me. So then, the other thing is too.
You were tripping balls, dude.
Oh, you have no idea. Let me finish.
He's not
So,
done.
my friend was there, and he kept telling me, Chris, you need to smoke more. I was like, shut up, dude. Dude, I am God, and I'm telling you, you need to smoke more. I was like, dude, shut up.
Friend's a dick.
I am God. Oh, yeah, he was. I was like, he's like, dude, I am God. And I was like, say you're God one more time, watch what happens. I am God, and I clocked him in the face.
Good for you.
Now, mind you, I was stoned, so I don't think I actually got his face. I think I got his hat. The point is, I swung at the fucker. Anyway, long story short, that ended up kind of killing everybody else's buzz, and they're like,
Sure.
all right, well, let's get going. All right, cool, whatever. I gotta go to bed. So I go, and at the time, I had to go up the stairs to get to my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember going up the stairs. I was just somehow in my bedroom, like I manifested.
Manifested.
I just in the bedroom.
You teleported.
According to my subconscious, I did. And somehow, then I manifested in my balcony, telling everybody bye, watching them leave from my driveway. And then, all right, cool, went to bed. I spent like at least 2 to 3 hours crying because I kept hearing the devil tell me, "God's never gonna forgive you."
You were not garden variety
And I was like,
stoned.
oh my God, no. And I was like, but I just wanted to try. I didn't know. But God's never going to forgive you. I was like, no, come on. And I couldn't. And then finally I came off of that whole deal of the devil telling me he would never forgive me. And then I had nothing but 150,000% cotton mouth.
Well, yeah, that's what
To when I
happens.
went into the restroom and just dipped my head into the sink, turned on the faucet, and just let the water run into my mouth. So I could and I had to get up like 10 times before I could even fall asleep. The next day was great. Because
got the
I
best
woke
sleep
up,
of your damn life.
I was really warm and like fuzzy, like I was wearing fuzzy pajamas and shit. That was great.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed the day after. The day of, no.
The day after sounds like a delayed reaction roll.
It was great. The next day was great. Like I would like touch my arm and it'd be like nice and fuzzy.
Dude. So my first experience was similar to yours in
Hi,
that.
Lindsay's mom.
Hi, Mom. So it's not a secret with my family that I have tried it. Obviously, I don't do it anymore. But my very first time was with someone I'm not really friends with anymore for reasons. One of them being this. So, I trusted people. I smoked some pot. Great. Not quite sure what it was laced with. I was told later it was angel dust. Not really sure if that's true.
Yay!
Yes. The best part, I think, and I can laugh about it now, but at the time, it was fucking terrifying.
Oh, I imagine.
Driving down the road with my friend in the passenger seat and her brother and her boyfriend in the back. And I might have been going 10 miles an hour. I could have been going 100. I have no idea. I was just trying to get 8 blocks to her house. And the lampposts were wrenching themselves up from the ground. They grew feet, and they were chasing us down the main road while the tops of the lights were like attacking in the middle of the road.
Oh yeah, that sounds like angel dust, all right. I've never done it, but I've heard about it.
Oh my god. It was the most terrifying thing ever, and I didn't really do it after that very much. At all.
I grew
That's
up around it. It was like a constant presence in my young life.
Not mine.
I was born in 75, so I'm like a little bit older than you guys. So I remember from when I was very little, it was not uncommon at a family gathering to see. I mean, we have pictures of my cousin in the family album rolling a joint. My had a big,
Those are good things to have in an album.
not to out you or anything, but my had like one of those big, huge waitress trays underneath his chair in the living room, and his brothers and his nephew would come over, and so they were constantly smoking. He smoked hash, and he let me pick the album that he smoked it off of. So it's the mystique for pot has never really been there for me. It makes me sleepy and it makes me hungry. I don't really enjoy the pot high.
See, I was really looking forward to munchies when I tried it. Like, really looking forward to it.
Well, down in Miami, those are some good munchies, too.
That's well, I did. I lived in Miami. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they have, I'm sorry to say for anybody that lives here in Jacksonville, Florida, but there's a lot more better food down there. And I was really looking forward to the munchies.
So wait a minute. Okay. Let me just backtrack a moment. You're apologizing to the people of Jacksonville who actually believe that food in Jacksonville is better than food in Miami?
Listen,
Like, there are people who actually believe that sort of shit?
there's crazy people all over the world.
I've been through Miami once, and
There's-
even I know the food is better than here.
But you know what? There's crazy people all over the world. There's
I
people out
guess.
there that support the Jaguars.
Okay.
We just lost a Jacksonville fan base. All two of you.
That's wrong, man. Wrong.
Oh, goodness. Okay. So, seems fairly positive. Chris didn't love it, but he didn't hate it. So that's
I
good.
enjoyed it.
Good.
Overall, if I were to give it a score,
Yeah.
out of 10, I would give it a 7.5, an 8 maybe.
Excellent.
Not bad at all.
I'm glad.
And I would give it probably about an 8,
Yeah.
maybe a 9. I liked it. I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. It was trippy and catchy, and I kept finding myself singing "Murder Me," you know. And then when she turned into when Sandy turned into the mistress, I was like, "Oh yeah, I like where this is going." So I liked it. I enjoyed it.
Good.
It is definitely trippy.
Yes, absolutely.
I give it like a 9.5.
Yes.
I loved
Success.
it. It was campy. Because when you had given it to me,
Yeah.
and given me the DVD, you were concerned whether or not I would like it. And then
Yeah.
when I told you that I liked Crybaby, you were like, oh, if you like Crybaby, you'll
You're
love
gonna
this.
enjoy this one.
And I did. It was campy, and it was funny, and it was left of center, and it was
Yeah.
Alan Cumming. So
Well, yeah. And, I think the only reason I even found it was because I was coming off of my Kristen Bell high from Veronica Mars. I was like, I need to see everything this girl's ever been in, because it was my first introduction to her. I'm like, she's fantastic. Where has she been? And so I watched, like, Gracie's Choice from Lifetime, which is still, like, the only Lifetime movie I've ever, like, remembered the name of. And I found this one, and I just fell in love with this one. It's just so ridiculous.
I did find myself as I was watching this going, "Ooh, I wonder what else that person played in. I wonder what else." Because all of the actors, even though this was a ridiculous comedy and everything, their roles were just amazing. They played it so well. And I was just like, "Ooh, I wonder what else this person plays in." Yeah. And I went through and I was kind of looking. I'm like, "Ooh, maybe I can watch that."
Well, good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing it with you. It's honestly, it's in my top 10, like, of all time. And that's just because I love musicals, and there will be more to come, so. I won't do
Why
it
do you
every.
look at me like it's a threat? I like musicals too. I'm just
Okay.
very, very picky about them.
All right. Just wait for Christmas time. I have, like, a stack of them. All right. Well, I think we're about done with this one. Thank you for joining us here at Ctrl+C and our review of Reefer Madness. Remember to join us each week for a new episode. Subscribe and rate us on iTunes and SoundCloud. And remember, for this and other shows, join us on geekendcast.com and follow our Twitter at geekendcast. Thank you to our cast: Teresa,
bye.
Kristen,
See ya.
Chris.
I'm still not harmonizing.
You're so difficult.
It's a take back.
It's a take back. No take backs.
Damn it!
Damn it!
Come on, you can harmonize that.
Damn it!
Excellent. All right, I think that's it. Have a great week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.